And I'll apologize really quickly just because I meant for two shots of espresso to go in each espresso cup, so that it was meant to be a double diluted with each cupping. I just wasn't clear enough in the instructions. I apologize. So the espresso, the diluted espressos were maybe a bit weaker than I would normally intend. So what did you guys find were your preferences? Hopefully they line up with mine. A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3, or 4? 3? Okay, 3. It's a really nice coffee, nice roast. So that's good. Yeah, I liked 3 as well. Did anyone prefer 1 or 2? Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. We'll go back. Okay. This is roast 1. This is the best available profile I could get. So this is Diedrich roaster, 12 kilo. So you can see there's a super hot charge by their probe. But the probe, I would say, is well placed. So I think the temperatures are accurate. These are mostly bean temperature. So really hot charge, and just about a 15-minute roast, if I'm reading that correctly, for this coffee. So the actual design recipe that this roaster uses is 26 grams of coffee in the basket for 26 grams of coffee out. So super ristretto, 1-to-1 brew ratio, like 100% brew formula. So it's kind of crazy by modern standards, but that is what they look for. So this is actually a blend of 2 coffees, being a Guatemala and a Kenya. And it's roasted because of that recipe. It is roasted much darker because at those super short volumes or super high concentrations, the flavors are going to be so intense, right? So they roast it really long, and I actually found it, I find it pretty bakey. But of course, at excuse me, maybe 15 times the concentration of a normal filter coffee, it's okay, but they can never really properly extract that espresso. So they always kind of cool salty and sour to me, those shots. Okay. So here's coffee 2. Just about a 14.5-minute roast. This is something a little bit more along the lines of what I was used to seeing at Ritual, actually, where first crack is essentially happening between about 11.5 and 12 minutes. Yeah. Or sorry, between 11 and 11.5 minutes, and lasting for about 3 minutes to 3.5 minutes. So that, I would say, is actually just far too long for an espresso. Okay.
Excuse me, they were roasting like this for their espressos or for most coffees?
Just for espresso. These are all just for espresso. This roaster in particular would be roasting something more along the lines of 10 to 11 minutes for filter.
Oh, really?
Yep. So dramatically different. But slightly faster than the last one. And the design recipe for this coffee or this espresso shot would be something more along the lines of 19 grams in and 35 or 36 grams out. And this roaster is actually measuring the espresso extraction. But I do think this coffee is just in the roaster too long, and both the shots and the cupping exhibit bakey flavors. But it is developed enough. And a much lighter example, or much lighter roast than coffee 1. So here's coffee 3. The red is the bean temperature. The blue is the environmental temperature in the roaster. And 3 is the gas, and it's not actually a percentage, it's just the setting on the machine. So this is actually only roasted for just about 12 minutes, 15 seconds, 12 minutes, 20 seconds. So much faster, but it's still developed enough to actually be soluble as espresso. And also a little lighter still, and they're using a slightly longer or slightly weaker design extraction recipe of just about 18 to 19 grams in and 36 to 38 grams of beverage out. So essentially a 50% brew ratio, brew formula and a 2-to-1 brew ratio. So they're looking for 19 to 20% extractions. Okay, and it was an Ethiopian coffee. Okay, bire. Yeah. Okay, and the last coffee, the probe placement on this roaster is quite different. So there's a little bit more temperature from the faceplate of the machine taken into account here. So the temperatures register lower. But again, you can look at the total roast time, and this espresso only being roasted just about 12 minutes was easily able to extract as an espresso shot. And this roaster is also looking for just about a 50 to 55% brew formula. So, 18 to 19 grams in the basket and 35 to 38 grams of beverage out. And this roaster is also measuring extraction. So 3 and 4 really being my ideals, I would say. I mean, in terms of what I would normally do with an espresso roast. And yeah, I just, once you are actually using the numbers in terms of extraction to guide that process, it's much easier to experiment because you kind of have that handrail. You can drift off your normal course and always pull yourself back, like by utilizing extraction measurement through the refractometer. You're always able to pull yourself back to your sort of starting point at a bare minimum, if not improve. The first crack would be just at about 10 plus minutes, so 10 to 10 and a half minutes. So like looking for essentially 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes from first crack to finish.
And what coffee was this?
This is it's a Kenyan coffee.
Because the last cup was off. I mean, it was terrible. I think we all agreed on the table. 4B.
4B.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you.
On table 6 also.
Oh.
Woody.
Okay. Yeah, I found it a little woody as well, but I still think the roast, in terms of just going by the roast, it should be it should be more towards sort of this type of range, in my experience, at least. Does anyone have any questions? There were some questions, obviously, about the point of that exercise, which I was just trying to come up with something that would be relatively interesting, given that we couldn't do sort of side-by-side, just pure espresso tastings with an EK, because one wasn't available. And I thought the diluted espresso it really is a good way to sort of still be able to measure the effect of actually extracting the espresso. So you can take a measurement on the extraction before diluting if you need to, but still be able, but also assess roast and degree of roast and degree of bakiness. So, the vast majority of espressos being far too bakey, like bakey to an unnecessary degree, where we could sort of mitigate a lot of that defect. And we're simply not, because we're not tasting those coffees extracted properly. So working that into your QC program is like a huge thing that I really recommend. Any other questions about the rest of it, though? No? I guess you're all welcome to talk to me after, of course. Yeah, do I have like a thank you slide? Yeah, I do, okay. Thank you so much.